Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV for a Redmen Reacts special. We found out Monday morning that former Liverpool boss Gerard Houllier has passed away at the age of 73. Absolutely devastating news, obviously for his friends and family and what have you, and everyone who knew him, and of course to fans of Liverpool Football Club, particularly of us who grew up with him being such a massive manager in the time. And you know, I've done another video on this, Chris, and the thing that strikes me is that he was the first real manager for us. You know, we had Roy Evans before then. Of course, we remember Roy Evans being in charge, but we were kids. We grew up. We were very young when Dalglish was in charge, still young Souness. Evans comes in. That was the first, our first manager that we really remember. But Houllier was the one where, you know, that treble season, we're 17 at the start of it, coming into our adulthood. That was, you know, up until Istanbul, which does supersede it to some extent, that was the biggest season of us being Liverpool fans.
Yeah, I think for me, he was the first manager that I loved. And that's what it is. Like, Roy Evans was there, and his greatest achievements almost had happened behind the scenes when I was young and stuff. So although I loved Roy Evans although I respected Roy Evans, Houllier was the first one that sort of, he changed the game. You know, if you think back to that period of time, like we're that generation who grew up without the internet, and it feels like Liverpool at the time were playing football pre-internet, and he modernised the football club in the same way that we were going through all this mad stuff in our life and stuff. And you know, he comes in and it's you know, he changes the food, he changes everything, and he gets Liverpool to a position where they can challenge. And as you say, you know, we're going to town at the time, we're watching these games in pubs and enjoying ourselves with big groups of Liverpool fans and stuff like that. And I remember that as you know, those first sort of experiences into what, you know, ultimately led me down the line of getting a season ticket and going to the game and all that, because I'm not sure without that I would have made the effort.
Gerard Houllier is certainly the manager for whom, when I first started going to games, not being taken to games, when I started going to games, he was the boss. I think back to early, getting to early League Cup games and stuff in his early days, and I remember that period really, really well. And we were probably, again, because we were so young, that the joint managership stuff that we look back on, everyone kind of looks back on and winces that this was the situation.
I just did it then.
Well, yeah.
So I rolled my eyes. Yeah. Oh God.
Well, you know, Roy Evans was put into a horrible situation there. Not Gerard Houllier doing, and he made the best of the situation as well. He had to, you know, there's two sides to it. We all felt sorry for Roy Evans, but Houllier had to come into a culture that was, you know, Roy Evans was part of the furniture at Liverpool, and to have to come in and to kind of put your stamp on things when there's another fella who's got another way of doing things, I think speaks to the character of Houllier. And it's mad because he had that connection to the city. He'd done a year teaching at Allsop when he was younger, and it was mad how that was like often brought up. He was a great example of a guy. It was the first time we'd had a foreign manager who and also had that deeper connection to Liverpool. Like, he understood what it was to be Liverpudlian, to be a Scouser.
Yeah, no, he absolutely did. And, you know, the city warmed to him, and he wasn't the most warming of characters either. You know, we warmed to him because of his success, because of his work rate and his effort, and, you know, because of, you know, putting his body through things to manage Liverpool. You know, you can't forget that 2001 season where he goes down and he has the operation. Phil Thompson takes charge of us, and then comes back, and, you know, that treble winning season though will be what defined him. But ultimately, he did kind of set us up for the European Cup. He got us back into the Champions League for a start, which was, you know, not a mean feat at the time.
Well, you're dead right, because everyone thinks about the treble season, and rightly, you've got the high points. You've got winning the League Cup in Cardiff. You know, we set the template for winning things the hardest possible way by, you know, having so many three ultra dramatic cup wins in that season, but the fourth win that season was getting Champions League football. And you're dead right, that is the cornerstone of what follows. You know, Liverpool re-establishing themselves as a top European club once again. And again, when Benitez comes in, it's because, you know, he's not necessarily inheriting a world-class squad, but he's inheriting a squad that's in the Champions League, that still has a few gems that obviously in that. Look at the players that Houllier raised. Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher, not the players, don't have the careers they have without the influence of Gerard Houllier as well.
No, and they might not have the careers that they have if he didn't change things behind the scenes as well, because, you know, obviously I think as I've gotten older, I've realised that timing is just as important as probably your knowledge and players and everything else. You know, Graham Souness, people look back on him, he tried to change the club too quickly, and the club wasn't ready to be changed at the time, probably because Souness tried to bring in a lot of the things that Houllier tried to bring into the football club. It didn't work then. 10 years later, it does work, and Houlier's the one. And you know, where would Jamie Carragher be without that change in mentality behind the scenes, and that change? And you know, Sammy Hippie, exactly the same. Steven Gerrard, he sets him up for a career at the top, 15, 16, 17, 18 years because of those early years with Gerard Houllier. And he needs massive credit for that.
You're dead right, and you're right again. It is the management of stuff. You know, this is not to damn Roy Evans in any way, shape or form with this, but obviously the Spice Boys era is what precedes it. When player power was running riot, you had it was a modern game, but players were still living in the 80s in the way that they conducted themselves, in the way that they trained, in the way that their approach to nutrition and all those kind of things, what you were alluding to earlier. Liverpool were in danger of Liverpool had been left behind by that point, and it's interesting talking to a bit to Carragher about this and a bit to Fowler about this, and how, you know, that you're right, the Jamie Carragher thing's absolutely a perfect analogy to this. Carragher was on the fence. He could have completely gone off the rails. He could have absolutely flushed his career down the toilet. But he has that close relationship with Houllier, and he feels the need to prove himself, and he does. He proves himself as a footballer, and like, you've got it on the wall behind you. Jamie Carragher ends up as a European Cup lifting Liverpool player, pivotal to that because of the trust and the faith that Houllier puts in. He's the one who converts him from a DM, puts him in the back four. Okay, as a go at left back in that time.
Go right back as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's telling. He had such a massive impact on those footballers, and again, somebody had to come in and do it, and to be able to come in and do it and also have success. You mentioned Souness. Souness comes in, changes things, and doesn't have success. Houllier not only changes the culture at the football club, but also delivers, again, that treble season. In the fullness of time, you look back on it, it's a phenomenal achievement.
Is it 60? What is it? Was it 58 or 63? I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of games that we had to play that season.
We played the most games you can play in the campaign, because we went to the end of every competition.
And we made it hard by going extra time in some of them. Just to add on the minutes. Klopp would be pulling his hair off at the minute Houlier's side went through. And they were only just getting used to the nutrition side of things.
If it hadn't been for Golden Goal, we'd have played the most minutes almost that you pretty much could have done. No, genuinely phenomenal. And it's mad, all the little moments, like we had such a terrible record against Everton in the 90s, and that turns around under Houllier. You know, I think back to the Robbie Fowler celebration and the infamous Rigobert song. Is he's doing the Rigobert song, eating the grass thing.
He was eating the grass, yeah.
But again, Houllier just come out completely straight faced and told the biggest lie ever. Absolutely great. So many of those memories of game for that age, for me being like between 15 and sort of 19, 20. Again, first forays into the Champions League as well. We do really well. It's the game where we get knocked out. Did we get knocked out by Leverkusen? And stuff like that.
There's games against Roma and all kinds of stuff back then, and they were brilliant, weren't they? And you know, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's the time of your life that you sort of remember, and he's a touch point for me, and he always will be, and I'm sure he will be for a lot of players that worked under him and stuff like that as well. And you got going back to that sort of, we understood the city and stuff. What a brilliant move it was bringing Phil Thompson in. Yeah. Because not a guy that's gone on to become a great manager or anything like that, but right there, he needed someone who had that link to the past, who's lifted a European Cup at Liverpool, who's able to take the reins in his absence and do really, really well in his absence as well. So he really did lay the foundations for modern Liverpool as far as a manager goes.
Yeah, 100%. We've seen some brilliant messages pouring out onto social media. The official Liverpool account saying we're mourning the passing of our treble-winning manager Gerard Houllier. The thoughts of everyone at Liverpool Football Club, with Gerard's family and many friends. Rest in peace, Gerard Houllier. Dave Kirby, of course, a good friend of ours, Liverpool playwright, says after the frustrating 90s, he brought trophies and memories flooding back. 5 in 2001. What a year, what a man. Thanks big time, Gerard. Jamie Carragher has changed his profile picture to one of Gerard Houllier as well. He says absolutely devastated by the news about Gerard Houllier. I was in touch with him only last month to arrange him coming to Liverpool. Love that man to bits. He changed changed me as a person and as a player, and got LFC back winning trophies. R.I.P. boss. And Michael Owen, another one as well, saying absolutely heartbroken to hear that my old boss Gerard Houllier sadly passed away. A great manager and a genuinely caring man. And that's the one thing that I think is telling that's come out of the back of this. Like, Dietmar Haman's been involved in a bit of a spat with Alan Sugar off the back of all this and all that, which I don't want us to kind of get embroiled in, but the key thing I'm seeing in all of this is what a caring person he was, what a great man manager he was, what a lovely, and it's funny how people remember Rafa Benitez in a completely different kind of way that followed. That's the one thing that you find throughout everyone's experience of Houllier, who played under him, is what a wonderful human being he was, and how close he was, and how great he was as a person. And that's the beauty. I love him. People very rarely come out and obviously speak ill of the dead or whatever, but it's not forced. People could easily just come out and go, what a great man, I won a load of great trophies with him, but it's I think it's very telling.
It's going that extra layer. Yeah, no, it is, isn't it? And I think, I remember it was Dr. Rashid who did his operation, and I worked with the doctor's daughter, Sophie, at Owens, and they struck up a friendship throughout life as well. And they used to come in, the Rashids used to come in all the time to our restaurants, and they'd talk about Houllier, and they'd say the same things to us and stuff like that about just how warm a person he was. And you think back to, what was he when he came to, he was a teacher. Mm-hmm. And he took what he learned in those early years of being a teacher and applied it to football. Yeah. And that's what it comes across like. He's like, you would talk about a good teacher, someone who's shaped you. And Carragher says it well there, doesn't he? Not only changed me as a player, but changed me as a person. And that's what a great teacher does. And Houllier was that to so many players at Liverpool Football Club. And he brought 6 trophies to us as well. Absolutely. He was the one who gave us what we'd only previously heard our fathers talk about.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And just one sort of message I thought it interesting. Treble says come out, and I could do this in French, but I won't. But obviously comes out and talks about his sadness, and just says, he's how thankful he is to have played for the marvellous club that's Liverpool, because of course he never got to play under Gerard Houllier. Houllier had him lined up, and he comes in under Benitez, and as Treble who's now got this connection to Liverpool, goes on, plays a part in us winning the European Cup, but it's all thanks to Gerard Houlier's efforts to bring him into the football club. So yeah, a lovely little touch, and I'm sure we will continue to see some wonderful messages of love, support, and some great Gerard Houllier memories. Do let us know yours in the comments below, of course. It's just horrible, isn't it? I think it puts into context. We're on a Monday morning where we're all feeling a bit down because Liverpool have drawn a game of football and the top of the league, and they qualified for the Champions League, and we're doing Champions League group draws. 73 years old is no age at all. It's shit that this is a thing, but the thing I said on my other video about this is that it's the legacy that you leave behind, and that's one thing Houlier's got in spades, is he leaves behind hundreds, thousands of wonderful memories for people all around the globe.
Yeah, and certainly for people of our age and maybe a couple of years older or a couple of years younger and stuff. As I say at the top of the show, first manager that I loved at Liverpool Football Club, and I already thought he deserved to be on that banner of, European Cup winning managers and stuff like that, but hopefully now he does get the respect and the recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, thank you so much for joining us for the show. Obviously plenty more going on around Redmen today. Of course, there has been the Champions League draw, which you can check out. Our reaction to that will be up on the redmentv.com as well. But yes, rest in peace, Gerard Houllier. Thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful memories. And yes, it's a sad day, and hopefully everyone keeps their heads up and has the best day that they possibly can. Ta-ra.